Hey guys, this is Sameer for Digit.in, and what better way to bring you the Microsoft Surface Pro 4 than on marble surface where it looks absolutely beautiful. But you know, there are a lot of hands-on first impressions, videos, slideshows floating all over the place, and Microsoft actually claims that this is a competitor for the MacBook Air. So what better way to show it to you than with a MacBook Air? Pro? But that's not all. Apple recently announced the launch of the iPad Pro in India, and well, you know, why not show you what everything is out there for you in the market? And just to give you a perspective of how size of tablets and touch-enabled devices have changed, this is a third generation iPad, which, as you can see, is way smaller than the Surface Pro 4, is of course way smaller than the iPad Pro, and has no place on top of a MacBook Air. As you can see on your screens right now, we have a quick look at the specifications and the price point of each of the three devices. And on first look, they all look very premium built. Of course, this is a 2012 MacBook Air, and this is of course the Surface Pro 4 and the iPad Pro. So let's get started now. One of the coolest things about the Surface is the kickstand at the back, as you can see right here, and it's very easy to prop the device up if you're ready to start working. It's very easy, it's comfortable. And the best part about this is the kickstand at the back can be adjusted, so you can take care of any viewing angles issues that you have. The interface will of course be Windows 10, Cortana, and of course the facial recognition from the front-facing camera. The MacBook Air is of course our traditional full-fledged laptop running OS X, and let's boot that up for you. And last but not least, we have the iPad Pro, which is a little inconvenient. Of course, the smart cover is the same that we've seen on previous iPads that Apple has launched, but this is the amount of effort it takes to get, an iPad running, and that is a lot of effort. There, and then it clicks in. Now, of course, like I told you, the Surface Pro 4 can be changed on the angle of viewing, so if I need it to be lower or if I need it to be higher to reflect the sun, but the same cannot be said for the iPad Pro. And of course the MacBook is a full-fledged laptop, so it does compete directly with the Surface Pro 4 as far as viewing angles are concerned. Let's take a look at some of the connectivity options now. On the MacBook Air, we have a headphones and microphone combo jack, USB 3, MagSafe charger, an SD card slot, another USB slot, and of course Apple's Thunderbolt port, which is great. Now, of course, since Windows 10 has a touch interface and Microsoft is touting the pen a lot with the clicker, which just feels so good. You know those times when you're sitting and thinking and you just want to go click, click, or click, click. Oh, it's taking screenshots. And of course, you know, I can do whatever I want, and I'm really bad at drawing, so I'm not going to do that. But yeah, we're talking about connectivity options. And apart from the fact that the keyboard can be moved, you have a rear-facing camera, a front-facing camera, and on the sides you have a USB port and a display port. And Microsoft says that the only reason that the device is this thick is so that they could have a full-sized USB port in it, and actually feels quite sturdy. You have the volume rocker on the top, the power button, and a headphones cum microphone jack on one side. And it's very easy just to snap off the cover when you want to use it as a standalone tablet. And there you have it. So that's the standalone tablet view that you can get. And if you want to dock it in, that's it, and you get the kickstand out for yourself, and you're ready to go. Now, the iPad Pro, on the other hand, it does feel a little tedious because I have to not only snap out the keyboard and put it back a little bit, and I have my interface. Of course, this has Touch ID, a front-facing camera, a rear-facing camera, and the only connectivity option is, of course, the Lightning port at the bottom. It has 4 speakers, and it's actually a great device for content consumption, at least as far as I have used this device. And like I said, you can only prop it in one angle, and the smart cover works like we've seen in the past. So having spent a really limited amount of time with these three devices, I would like to tell you that since the Surface Pro 4 runs a full-fledged version of Windows 10, it is great for content creation because you get true multitasking like you would on a normal Windows laptop, and you of course can use it as a tablet on, you know, for watching movies and stuff like that. But where the iPad Pro excels a little bit is for content consumption, be it reading books, watching or reading comic books, watching movies, watching videos, multitasking. This is of course the most powerful iPad Apple has made. It's really, really big. It looks like just a really big iPad in comparison to what the Surface brings. And having spent a limited amount of time with both these devices, I can tell you that the Surface Pro 4 is greater for those that want a content creation device, and the iPad Pro is great for those that want a content consumption device. Of course, the iPad Pro also has an optional pencil that you can purchase, which we don't have with us right now. Now let's move to the keyboard a little bit. which once you've set it up for use, you can see there is not that much depth to the keyboard when you type on Apple's keyboard out here, but here the Surface Pro keyboard does give you a little bit of a feedback. Of course, it feels, because it's inclined a little bit, it feels like if I jab on the keyboard, I'm going to go straight through and through it. But the iPad keyboard is a little flat. It's well spaced out. Both the keyboards are really well spaced out. If you're a Mac user, the keyboard layout on the iPad Pro is going to appeal to you. It's great if you're someone that wants to multitask and work. As you can see, I have Gmail, Google Docs and other applications open for the iPad Pro, but somehow I still get the feeling that these apps aren't really optimized or cannot take full advantage of the potential of what the iPad Pro offers. The hardware is there where it should be, but the software still has a long way to go, especially when it comes to content creation on the iPad. Yes, there are specific apps that use the pen on both the devices, but just as a pure multitasking device, you can see that if I want to use, let's say, Word, if it's still a part of this WordPad, and oops, is it going to open? Oh yes, oh, so first bit of lag over there. This is digit.in. But if I want to just multitask, I can simply press Command Tab and go into, let's say, Chrome if it's here, or rather Edge, the browser, and I can still get the multi-view out here. Now on the iPad, yes, it is possible for me to get multi-view as well. So let's give you a little bit of example of that. So if I'm browsing on the Chrome browser, as you can see out here, and if I want to add another app, this is how I can multitask. Now of course the app selection is quite large, and the touch interface on both devices is great. Let's say Note. So let's say if I'm researching something, and yeah, you can see that I was doing some research for some stories, and just so that I can hide that from you, here is a way of how multitasking would work on the two devices. Of course, again, I'm going to reiterate the fact that here multitasking does feel a little limiting simply because of certain versions of the app. Let's say Google Docs or some of the other apps that we're used to using do have a more mobile feel to it, but when you use the similar apps on the Surface Pro 4, it has a more desktop feel to it. Then again, the speakers on the Surface Pro, speakers on the iPad Pro are really good. It has 4 speakers, 2 on either side, so when you're watching YouTube videos and all, it's really, really loud. It's a great experience watching movies, but it's again limited by, the ability to not have any angles. It's just this one angle, and I'm pretty sure the way I prop it up in office is actually a jugaad, which is I take my wallet and I just clip it in here, and then I can get a little bit of a difference of a viewing angle so that the tube light doesn't reflect on the screen, but it's not a very convenient solution. So this is of course the back of the iPad Pro, especially when you're using it with something like the keyboard that you can buy. Now the keyboard doesn't come as a part of the bundle when you buy the iPad Pro. You have to buy it separately as long as a pencil. And here is what the rear of the Surface Pro looks like. As you can see, the hinge is the biggest deal out here. I can prop it up straight if I'm getting too much direct sunlight from the top, or I can put it as low as I want. So that, and I'm going to share it with people on the table while they watch what I'm doing, or we can share a movie or share some data. And let's just click it off. That's magnetic connector is great, and the hinge, so we're just going to put this in rest so I don't click anything abruptly, is really great. So you have, as you can see, there's a slight indent out here. It's a groove. I can pull it out with ease. It's an ergonomically very well built device, and of course Microsoft has the if it ain't broke, don't fix it from the Surface Pro 3, especially where looks are concerned. But yes, a lot of work has gone into the hinge. If you are aware, Microsoft also has something called as a Surface Book, which they were not ready to tell us if it's going to come to India anytime soon or not. But the fact that the Surface Pro 4 is here, and we've given you not only a first look at the device itself in action with its smart cover, it's relatively light. So holding both the devices, both of them are relatively light in their own way. Now, I don't remember exactly which device is heavier, but they do feel pretty light and at par with each other. Placing them on top of the one on top of the other, you can see that the iPad Pro is slightly bigger in all dimensions. This is pretty subjective based on if you want a bigger device or if you want something that's a little compact, the difference isn't great. And as you can see, in terms of thickness, the Surface Book is a little thicker, but you of course do have the advantage of a full-size USB port instead of just a lightning connector out here, which makes this a more multifunctional computing device. A simple example is if my phone, which is currently dead, I need to charge it, I could just plug it in here and take some juice off the Surface Pro 4, whereas I can't do that on the iPad right now. So there you have it. This is our first look at not only the Surface Pro 4, which Microsoft has announced today, but also how it stacks up against Apple's big tablet, which is the iPad. Now for any of you that have used, also another thing is the magnetic way in which the pen sticks onto the Surface Pro 4 is great. You don't have a similar housing for the pencil on the iPad. And here it is again stacked up against a good old MacBook Air. Let's just try to get you a perspective of the thickness. Of course, we have a tapering thickness when it comes to the Air, and the Surface is more like a brick. And just to give you a little bit of the keyboard layout, let's get both of these in action. We will open this up and get the hinge out a little bit. Yeah, so of course a laptop's more convenient with just a plop up open. So just to give you a typing experience, let's get the notepad up, and this is digit.in. So that's a very comfortable keyboard. It's good, and this keyboard has been abused by me for about 3 years. So let's see if it still gets the job done. We'll open text edit, and it still feels great. Of course, the keyboard is better laid out here. I have more space, the keys are slightly bigger, but the layout isn't bad out here. The way it is compactly built, at least on first impressions, of course, we'll tell you in detail once we have it in for review about the battery life, multitasking performance, etc. It's a great device. And just to conclude, we'd like to say, of course, nothing beats a full-fledged laptop for productivity, but Microsoft has come really, really close and in fact nailed it with the design of the keyboard, the way it lays out, the magnetic clip. So if I want a more flatter perspective while typing, I can have it out here, or I can click it up to get a little bit of an angular. It has a full-size trackpad, which feels great. And there's nothing wrong right now with the iPad Pro, and we will get you a detailed review of the iPad Pro as well. But just the tedious task of getting it open and bringing it all the way here feels a little cumbersome. The lack of varied viewing angles feels limiting. And of course the keyboard has less depth, which according to me is fine, but then again it's subjective to how you like to use these devices. As always, if you liked the video, you can hit the like button. If you didn't like it, you can hit the dislike button. Leave your comments in the comment section below to let us know what you thought of these 3 devices. And as always, you can subscribe to our channel to stay in touch with all the latest and greatest videos that we bring you. This is Sameer Meetha signing off from digit.in.